Hi everyone, welcome back to the Crafty Maker podcast. I just want to start this podcast obviously by giving a big massive thank you to everybody that viewed my first ever episode. It warmed my heart to know that what I was creating was worthy enough to be on a podcast, and yeah, it hasn't received a million views, but I didn't expect it to. It's done more than I ever thought it could. Considering last year I very nearly decided not to start because I didn't feel like what I was creating and what I was making was good enough to be on a podcast. But since the new year started, I've tried to have a brighter outlook on things and not be so judgmental on myself and what I'm creating, because every single thing that I've made, everybody has said that they greatly love, or it's their favourite thing, that anybody's ever received. So I decided to be more positive and stop being so pessimistic all the time. So yeah, if I didn't mention last time, and I did neglect to mention it last time, I will link my Instagram feed and the Ravelry group. I don't really use Snapchat or Twitter much, to be fair, and obviously my Facebook is my personal one, so I don't really want to share that out on the internet. So yeah, I will pop a link downstairs in the description box, obviously to the Ravelry group. But if you want to search for it on Ravelry anyway, it's just the Crafty Maker podcast. So far there's only the show notes for episode 1 and an Ask Me Anything thread, and obviously as this gets more and more people interested in wanting to join in all the fun over here, yeah, we'll add more and more as we go along. So after all that's said and done, I first want to start by admitting I made a big boo-boo in the last episode. My wonderful sockhead hat that I made last time, and I completely and utterly had a blonde moment. Anybody that knows me, I am a natural blonde, and I am so forgetful sometimes and so clumsy, it's unreal. So whilst cleaning, I found the tag for my yarn that I used, and in the last episode I said obviously that this colour name, which is this beautiful like variegated pink and purple, was called Airedale, and it's not. It's actually called Windermere. So big slap on the wrist for me, because I'm an idiot. And yeah, good job I didn't throw it away, isn't it? Because otherwise you'd be off to go and buy a yarn and be like, what the hell is she on about? Because it's not called that, it's called something different. So yeah, I've worn this twice since the last podcast, and that was because it was snowing and it was incredibly cold. But this lives in my handbag and it's great. It's not the warmest hat I've ever worn, but now my hair's gone volumised because I don't straighten it as much as I used to. It keeps my ears warm, and that's all that matters. So yeah, I have a couple of weeks off from work, so me and Harry have been sat at home, so I've had a lot more knitting time than I normally do. So my knitting's been very well travelled the last couple of weeks. Everything, I've got 2 finished objects that I've finished within the last 6 days, and I have only 2 things on at the moment. I did cast one on today because I needed to, because I was getting fed up of knitting socks. Considering I've only been knitting socks since August last year, I'm already fed up of knitting socks. But they're great. They're great for taking to the, like, if I meet my friends for coffee, because they're quick. If me and Ian decide we want to go to the cinema, they're great for knitting in the cinema. Although I have only ever dropped one stitch and then forgot about it and carried on knitting and then had to rip back because it was quite dark and we went to see The Greatest Showman, and it's an awesome film and I wasn't concentrating on what I was doing. So yeah, I have probably get first bit away. So I finished off, the first thing that I finished off was my Hermione's Everyday Socks. And I was unsure about these because obviously so far I'd only ever knit vanilla socks. And I thought, this gets such good reviews from everybody that knits it. It's a fairly easy pattern to remember. It's basically, it's an offset pearl pattern, which is what I said last time. But yeah, I somehow already managed to bugger it up because so you have the nice pattern and then I missed out loads of the second row. So basically I've got ribbing at the end of my toe, but I don't care. It's nice, it fits me, it's functional. But yeah, I bound off, I did my Kitchener on my toe and then looked down and thought, oh crap. But yeah, it's a lovely pattern. Will I knit it again? I don't know, because I have several other sock patterns that I want to knit, including a couple of pattern ones and toe up and different things like that. So I don't know, I am undecided, but yeah, thoroughly enjoyed knitting on them. It was something different than just plain vanilla. And yeah, it's, as I mentioned last time, I do 64 stitches for my cuff. I do 1.5 inches of ribbing. I then do 4.5 inches for the leg. Although I will probably make some shorty socks at some point, I don't know yet. I do the fish lips kiss heel because I have a low arch and it's the best heel that fits me. Although I might want to do another heel flap and gusset. And then I do another 4.5 inches for my foot and 2 inches for my toe, and all I do is just a normal bog standard double decrease toe with a Kitchener finish. But yeah, I have all my notes, everything like this, on my project page, which is I am KTG19892 on Ravelry. So any of my projects on there, you want to go and have a look, feel free. I don't update it super often because I forget, and obviously I'm, as I said, I'm blonde, so everything just goes phew. But now that I'm bullet journaling, which was another thing that I started this year, I've been writing everything down in my book, so hopefully I shouldn't forget to remember to put projects on Ravelry. I don't write every single project that I do in here because obviously I'd be going through notebooks like crazy. But yeah, here for example is my socket hat that I did, and all I did was basically what I did in, and as you can tell here, I still wrote the wrong colour name down because I'm an idiot. But yeah, just what I used, who is it for, did I make any changes. But yeah, I don't do that for every project, but I'm going to start trying to. It might not be in my bullet journal, but it will definitely be in a notebook of some description, which is going to be with my my knitting bag. So yeah, my second finished object I made a sausage. No, I'm just kidding. I finished my Spindrift shawl. And anybody that's watched Amber's latest podcast will know why I rolled my shawl up. Because she actually gave us a tip on how to store shawls and how she stores her shawls. Say that 5 times faster when you're drunk. But yeah, this is my Spindrift shawl. I finished it not yesterday actually. Tell a lie. I finished it on the 6th. And this is being filmed on the 7th. So yeah, this is my Spindrift shawl. It's not perfect, but I don't mind. It's been a long time in the making, this one. It's been a good... I started this November last year, and obviously now it's April. But yeah, where the marker is, where my phoenix is where I was last time. And I was about 25%, 30%. And yeah, I did all the rest of it in like 5.5 days. Because I was doing a lot of rage knitting. Ian and I play the online multiplayer game Fortnite. So every time I would get peed off because I'd got shot or I'd lose or, you know, something would happen, pick this up. Because it's a crescent shape, it increases at the beginning and at the end. The rest of it's just plain knitting, plain purling. And I don't mind purling, as most knitters hate it, but I don't mind it because it's I'm just as quick and just as comfortable to purl as what I am to knit. So yeah, I did make a tiny boo-boo. When I was watching the other night, I was in the middle of doing the repeats for the border. And you probably can't see, but you have nice evenly spaced rows and then one massive great big row here where I did one too many knit rows. You see, now they're not all spaced the same, but I don't care. It's going to be wrapped around my neck. Nobody's going to be this close to my face looking at it and going, oh, you've made a mistake there. I probably could have done with doing my start of my shawl on a bigger needle because it's bending over, but as I said, I don't care. But yeah, it's thoroughly enjoyed knitting it. It's my first ever time that I've done a picot bind off, and it was actually a lot simpler than I thought it was going to be as well. I've been knitting for a long time, but I'm still I'm not a beginner knitter. I know enough to be dangerous, but some techniques, like I haven't done a lot of nice knitting, I haven't done a lot of colour work knitting, I haven't done a lot of fancy bind offs. I've never knit an I-cord bind off because I've never knit anything that needed me to. Hats don't need an I-cord bind off because obviously I knit my hats bottom up, so to speak. But yeah, it's thoroughly enjoyed knitting it. Now it's been blocked. The Angora is so soft. Oh, it's amazing. Because yeah, this is 70% Angora and 30% acrylic. I've just got the tag. If anybody's interested, this is the Razzle Dazzle sock ball in their Superwash Angora mix, and it is 30% acrylic and 70% Angora. Doesn't have a colour name on it because obviously why would it? Just to make life difficult. But I still have. I've got this much left of the ball. I probably could have gone on and done more repeats if I'd wanted to, and I might do that. I'm not 100% yet. Or I've got a full 100-gram ball of this as well, so I might knit something else with it, and I might knit something for my sister because she loves these kinds of colours. I don't know yet, haven't decided. But yeah, that's about 20 grams. So it took about 80 grams to do the entire thing, and it is just, oh. This is what I love about crescent shaped shawls. These bits that are curling, because obviously the increases are on the outside, they're just tuck underneath, and it sits really nicely. And I'm one of these people, I wear my shawls here around my neck, and obviously it matches really nicely with my socket hat, so it's enough of a contrast that it's not the same. So I'm going to be roasting in this, but oh well, there you go. I'm all sorted for next winter. I do, on the other hand, I do want to start, I do want to knit some mitts, some mittens. I don't know whether they'll be colourwork yet or not, but I do want to knit some mittens so I don't have to keep buying gloves, because gloves are expensive. But yeah, this is coming off now because it's too hot. It's like ridiculously warm in my house at the moment. But yeah, from now on I am going to roll all of my shawls because blocking is a nightmare. This is my first time I've ever really blocked anything, or anything big like this. I've blocked socks and stuff before, but obviously they don't require pinning out or anything, do they? You just chuck them on the sock blocker and hang them up to dry. But yeah, trying to sit on the floor and block this the other day, well, yesterday, because I blocked it. I let it sit in some eucalan for about 20 minutes ish in slightly more than tepid water. It wasn't super warm, because obviously being Angora, I didn't want it to felt if I put it in too hot water. So yeah, I put it in with some eucalan, and I used the unscented one just because I'm not overly keen on the scents that they do. And yeah, I pinned it out. I pinned it out and I blocked it. Excuse me. Ooh, I'm back. So yeah, I soaked it, rolled it up in a towel and squished as much of the water out as I could. And then I've got these, which are kids' foam mats. I looked at getting some proper blocking mats, but they were very, very expensive. I had a pack of 10 of these for like £6, and it's exactly the same thing. So yeah, just connected them all up because obviously they're like jigsaw puzzles, and all I did was, as you can probably see, these have all got holes in. Just pinned it out. Wasn't overly thorough about it. Didn't spend a lot of time measuring it and making sure that it was, it was exactly the same size as the pattern stated. I did it roughly. I roughly measured it. Bob's your uncle. Done. And it actually took, I pinned it out about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and by like 9:30 the next morning it was like dry. And I don't live in a very warm house. I live in quite an old building. It's an old block of flats where I live. And yeah, I just left it on my floor and just it blocked out. And all I did was, each of these little picots, I pulled it out slightly and just pinned it. And yeah, it's going to come in very useful when the weather turns colder later in the year. And obviously it's going to be a good one to put around my shoulders or whatever if I'm just cold in the house. I do have a couple more shawls that I want to knit. I wrote them down because I can't remember anything lately. I am terrible for remembering things. So I want to knit the Jodie by Hokey Locatelli. do I have them in here? This is my just an old folder that I keep all my printer patterns in. Oh, there's one. The only problem is now though that all my patterns are coming out. That's toe socks. Oh, there we go. So yeah, wanna knit Jodie by Hauki Locatelli. There's a couple more that I want to knit, but I'm not going to struggle to find all the paperwork out. And this is the other one. This is the Pradera wrap by I cannot speak today. My teeth don't want to stay in my mouth. By Jocelyn J. Tunney. And it's basically, it's a big arrow. And it looks amazing. I've got to find some nice yarn, obviously that I can. I'm just going to fold it in half. So basically, it's just like a big arrow. It's long and straight, but it's one of those where you can just wrap it around yourself and just like snug it up to you and just stick it down the front of your coat. So yeah, that's going to be one of the next ones that I knit. And obviously the Jodie and the Tracy shawls, what Hauki Locatelli has designed for obviously the grocery girls, are just everywhere. But I don't have yarn to knit those yet. I was going to knit the Jodie out of this, but it just, because of the fuzz of it, it didn't look right. I've also got the Ashford shawl by Vera Valamaki, is another one that I want to knit, but it's lace at the bottom and I'm not 100% confident that I can do it yet. So yeah, there's another couple. The Divination shawl by Kelly McClure, the 7 and 0 by Caitlin French, and yeah, that's about it for shawls. So yeah, those are both of my finished objects. I negated to mention that the yarn my socks were knit out of, this is Tiger, it's their 4-ply in just a hot pink colour. My grey is Grundle Hot Socks in the colour 02, which is just a cool tone grey. Also, just to quickly mention, mine is everyday, my multi burgundy plain vanilla socks, and then obviously my next whip, there I've used for 3 lots. This will be my 3rd pair. The ones that I'm knitting now are the 3rd pair to have contrast heels, toes and cuffs out of 1 ball of yarn. I ordered 2 of these and this is the 2nd one. For my 2nd whip, obviously these are the socks that I've just been talking about. So they are multicoloured, grey, green and burgundy in a variegated, and obviously with the grey heel, toes and cuffs. Haven't weaved in my ends on this one. I was quite naughty and didn't do it. So this is my progress. I was where my narwhal is there. This one, and I've got another one which is a pumpkin, which was on my Hermione's Everyday socks, from Hannah of the Corner of Craft. I special requested this one, and yeah, it's awesome. Love her stitch markers. I wish I could have the patience to do the same. I don't. I did used to hand sew jewellery when I was a lot younger, but don't have the time anymore. Yeah, so yeah, that's where I was before. Obviously I popped my heel in and I'm now just working down the toe. These are on my Chogo needles. I'm not certain whether I like these or not. These are a new purchase for me. I brought these last year off Amazon. They came from America, and these are the lace, not the interchangeable ones, or are these the normal ones? I can't remember. I think the lace ones are the straight ones, but these are the ones that have not got such a pointy tip. If we compare to, these are my other sock needles. These are the Addy Lace Turbos. They're not, the Cheogus aren't as pointy. So yeah, I brought these from America off Amazon, and can't remember, I think they're the normal ones, but they've got this odd bend in the handle. I don't know whether I like it, and obviously going from the Addy Lace, which are very flexible cord, to go into the Cheogus, which are non-flexible, it's very strange, and it's taking all my effort to not get a load of ladders up the side of my socks. So yeah, once I've finished the foot, I've got about another 4.5 inches to go. Pop in the grey for the toe. So yeah, same stitch count as before on my Hermione's Everyday socks. They are 64 stitches, 1.5 inches of rib, well, 6 inches in length for the total of the leg, including the ribbing. And I'm a UK size 7, so that's a European 42, and I don't know what it is in US sizes. US sizes are very weird. So yeah, as I said last time, I am short with big feet, so I am a penguin. So yeah, my other whip, where have you gone? There you are. Ugh. Sorry, all my stuff is like on a chair next to me, so I'm having to reach over. So yeah, my bag, I don't know if I mentioned this in the last podcast, I probably did, is from Rick Rack Room on Etsy. This one is my Game of Thrones one, is from Amelia X Joy on Etsy, and these are awesome for socks because you can get 3 balls of yarn in the bottom of there and it still doesn't feel like really full. But my other one's being used at the moment because I've got 2 of Amelia X Joys, and this was my first. I brought this one because it was on sale and it was like £8. But yeah, really lovely, like cornered off edges, and it's a like a wedged shape bag. My notions case. My next whip is just a cuff because I'm going to be knitting more socks, because as I said, comes great for cinema knitting. These ones are by Drops Fable, in the long print variety, which means they're going to be like transitional socks instead of like set in stone stripes. So yeah, Drops Fable in the long print, and this is in the colour 604. And yeah, it's 50-gram ball, and it's 205 metres. Usual spiel: 75% wool, 75% nylon or polyamide, wherever you are from. But yeah, this is like tonal blues and like a mild effect on the grey. So it's some of it's like a cool toned grey, and then it's like speckled over with like darker greys. So yeah, I thought that would be quite cool. And I only have 1 blue pair of socks in my collection, which is actually saying a lot because I love blues and greens, and like the gemstone colours are my jam. This is a one-off for me because I love the yarn. This is a one-off for me because I love the yarn. Grey, like aquamarine blues and teals and deep purples are all my favourite kinds of colours. So yeah, these are going to be socks going to be awesome. And as I said, this is what I have left of the other ball, and I've got one toe left to do on my other socks, another cuff, and 2 heels and toes. So if this makes just 3 pairs of socks, it's going to be awesome. So yeah, that's pretty much it for whips. I am going to be casting on something new in the next couple of days because I had the wool arrive for it. So yeah, I'm quite excited that my stash enhancements are quite big, to be fair. First off, I ordered me a new Knit Pro cable. So my pattern called for a 32-inch cord. I only have one 32-inch, and at the time it was on my spindrift shawl. So I'd ordered this thinking it's probably going to take me at least another couple of weeks to finish that shawl, and then obviously I wanted to get this cast on sooner rather than later, because now that I have the yarn for it, I can't wait and I want to start knitting it. So yeah, I have a Knit Pro interchangeable set. I don't have a full set, they're just, I had a starter kit brought for me by my ex a while ago, and I think it came with like 3 needles and 2 different cord lengths. I think it came with a 32 and a 24 inch, and obviously all the bits that came with it. And over the last couple of years, when I've actually got back in solidly into knitting, I buy a needle tip if I need it. So I do have a good range of needles. I can't find my case where all my needles are at the moment, but so yeah, I have pretty much solely got Knit Pro needles. I have pretty much every single one of their range that they do. The only one that I haven't got are the Dreams, which are their wooden needles, but I'm not a fan of wooden needles. They're too grippy for me and they don't give me enough speed that I need. So yeah, I have pretty much every single one apart from the new Dreams ones that they've just come out with. Favourites of all time are the Novas and the Zings. They are the best needles that they have ever come out with. They're slick and they're easy to knit with. The only thing I don't like about the Knit Pro Zings are the fixed circulars. These are my 2.25s. If we have a look, the join is really obvious, so you can feel it, and obviously if you're shuffling yarn it sometimes catches, but the needle tips are huge, and obviously because I flick, it's always welcome to have extra cord. I do have another variety of fixed circular needles, and I do have quite a few straights as well, which I'm debating on getting rid of because I don't use them, and as beautiful as they are, and my style of knitting doesn't accommodate straight needles, I much prefer circulars because I'm flicking and I'm using a flicking motion to knit with, and I move the needle so I don't have to drop the needle. It puts a great deal of strain on my wrist if I'm using straight needles, because obviously this little tiny needle is nothing compared to a needle that's that long and has got all the weight of your project on it. So I don't tend to use them, so I might pop them on eBay or pop them on Etsy. Haven't decided. But yeah, Zings are ultimately my favourite ever knitting needle. Other ones that I have, you've seen these ones. These are the Addy Lace, also known as sock rockets in the US. These are the red cord with the gold needle tips. I have as well, this is my other sock knitting needle that I brought last year, and I'm not sure whether I like it or not. So this is an Addy sock winder. Looks very strange. I do have a higher 9-inch circular, and it looks very different to this. So the sock winder is the blunt tips that the normal sock rockets use, but on a normal 9-inch circular, that is the amount of needle you get to knit with, regardless of whether you knit continental, you knit backwards, forwards, whatever. On a normal 9-inch circular, that's what you get. I like these because obviously you get one long one and one small one. Because I flick and I hold the needle like that with my 2 fingers, I have more to manoeuvre with. But the problem is, because I'm used to having longer needles, I'm getting a lot of cramp in my hand from using these. But I might still use them. I haven't decided yet. For the £5 it cost, if you're not comfortable with magic loop, because I've only been magic looping for a year. I learned how to magic loop last year, and then everything is magic loop now. I do have a set of 16-inch circulars, like what I knit my sock head on, but I don't like using them because they're the Clover Takumi. They're the bamboo ones, and I don't like them because obviously they're wood and they're not as slick for me, and they don't knit as fast as what like brass does or like metal does. So yeah, I do have a couple of fixed circulars in varying lengths. So I've got a higher sharp in like a 32-inch cord. I've got a Chogu in a 42-inch cord, which I originally brought for 2 at a time socks, and I don't like doing them 2 at a time. I like knitting them on separate needles because obviously they're more portable that way. So yeah, originally brought 32-inch cord because I didn't think mine would be free when I wanted to start knitting my jumper with it. So yeah, I have a couple of acquisitions of the yarn variety. I brought a few balls of yarn. First off, if you always wonder why I reach this way, it's because I've got a chair here with all my stuff on it, all just dumped on it, so to speak, so everything's all higgledy-piggledy. So yeah, my first one that I brought, and this arrived yesterday. This is Truly Woolrich by the brand Signet. This is quite a popular brand of yarn in the UK. You pretty much find this in any yarn shop. They're more known for their acrylic blend, their acrylic base, should we say. But this is their 4-ply sock yarn. This is in the colour 4249. You can see that. Didn't come with a colour name, don't know. It is 75% pure new wool and 25% polyamide, which is nylon. It is where have you gone? I've just seen you. I've just seen it. It's 100 grams. It's completely disappeared. 420 metres. There you go. 420 metres per 100 grams, which is about right for a sock yarn. But yeah, it's in a beautiful, it's like an ocean blue and a hot pink and white and purple, and like a, I wouldn't say a mustardy yellow, but it's like an off bright yellow. But yeah, looks beautiful. It's going to make an awesome pair of socks eventually when I get around to doing it. Next one is Heart and Soul by Sirdar. Sirdar's a massive name in the UK. Sirdar Snuggly is some of the best acrylic DK weight yarn that I've ever used. I use it to knit jumpers, I use it to knit blankets, I use it to knit stuffed toys, everything. That, and it's very, very cheap, so not going to complain. This is their Heart and Soul, which is obviously their Woolrich sock yarn. I like this comes with a free pattern on the inside, so if you're new to starting socks, it's already got a pattern with it, so you don't have to stress about trying to find a pattern. 410 meters per 100 grams, 75% wool, 25% nylon. Pretty standard. Doesn't say whether it's superwash wool or anything like that, so I'm presuming that it won't be. But then I don't wash my socks in the washing machine anyway. Learned that lesson the first pair that I ever knit, and they have been felted, and I don't care. They're comfortable, and they're only going to be on my feet anyway. Right, third pair is this. If this label looks familiar, it is because, where has it gone? It is the same that I knit my shawl out of. So yeah, slightly different coloured label. This is Angora, so my shawl is 70% Angora and 30% acrylic, which is a nice change from having nylon and everything constantly. This one is 75% superwash wool, but it obviously says it's merino on the front, and 25% polyamide, which is nylon, which is fairly standard for a sock yarn. But this one, the colours, they just look amazing. The purple's blowing out quite a bit because obviously the light above me is a yellow light instead of a white light. But I think it looks beautiful. It looks like it's going to be a slight Fair Oil effect, because obviously it's, as I say, if I look here, you see how the white's like variegated with the black. And it's going to be quite pretty, I think. I didn't see any swatches of it online because I get this off eBay. It's fairly cheap. It's for this one, I had 2 balls because she was getting rid of them for like £8 with the postage, and I think this one was about 5. But 100 grams is more than enough for me to do 2 entire full socks without any contrast heels, toes and cuffs. With a 50 gram, I normally do a contrast because I can't always guarantee that I'm going to have enough yarn. But yeah, 100 grams is plenty for me with my big giant feet. So yeah, that's all the normal sized balls of yarn that I purchased. As I said earlier, I am going to be knitting a jumper at some point. Probably within the next few days I'll do my swatch and get everything sorted. But my yarn arrived today. So when I went to our local shopping centre, about half an hour away from where we live, I took Harry to spend some of his birthday money, and we popped into Hobbycraft because I needed some new darning needles and a tape measure, because I, for the life of me, can never find where mine has gone, and with a hyperactive 6-year-old it never stays in the same place twice. So yeah, went in to go and get me a new tape measure and some darning needles because I couldn't find mine. We wandered down the yarn aisle, and I'd been planning to knit a flax jumper. Now, a flax jumper is a worsted weight, which in the UK can be classed as a Aran weight, which is not quite a chunky, but it's more than a DK. And yeah, we popped round, and I'd been looking at the meterage for the pattern that I wanted, for the size that I wanted, should I say. And it was coming out about 1400 yards is what I'd need to knit the pattern as stated. So I found this big boy. This is Hayfield bonus Aran with 20% wool. It's been blown out a little bit because of obviously the lights, but it's a very cool toned soft grey. It's called Croft Grey, which, okay, it's fine. This big massive ball, as you can see, is about the size of my head, maybe a bit bigger. It's 400 grams, 840 metres or 920 yards. It's 80% acrylic and 20% wool. And it's made in England, which is always a bonus. But yeah, this exact same ball that I found in Hobbycraft was £11 each, which, okay, for 400 grams of yarn wasn't that bad when you worked it out per 100 grams. But I didn't buy any when I went to Hobbycraft. I got home after Harry had worn me out, and I had a look on Amazon. Now, Amazon do sell yarn, and with Amazon Prime you can get it pretty much the next day if you wanted to. I bought this off Amazon, not just this one, but this one as well. So I have two of them, and it cost me 16 quid for the both of them with the postage. And yeah, the pattern said it was about 13.50 that I needed. So with both of these, I'm going to have 1840 yards, which is more than enough in case I want to alter the length of it, because even though I'm short, as you can see, I'm quite big chested. I have a mommy tummy because Harry was uncooperative and I had to have a C-section, and I have quite wide hips. Not super wide, but you know, they're more than enough. So I like my sweaters or jumpers or whatever you want to call them to come to just over my bum. So I'm thinking, if I knit the extra large size, which obviously gives me some room in the chesticle department, and obviously if I want to lengthen it, it shouldn't be a problem because I will have the extra yardage to do that. So rather than playing yarn chicken, I just brought the two. But yeah, I will obviously say tomorrow I've got a very long shift at work. Probably won't be gauge swatching tomorrow. But yeah, I will gauge swatch at some point and probably cast it on, because who else needs an Aran weight sweater in April when it's starting to warm up? Wait, I do. But yeah, as I said, I've got quite a lot of obligation knitting to do because my friends just decided to ask me, oh yeah, can you just crochet me a blanket and knit me a couple of things? Does she not forget how long it takes? Yeah, she asked me a couple of years ago, well, not last year, the year before, can you just crochet my daughter a mermaid blanket like 3 weeks before her birthday? And I'm like, I can try. But I did it, and she still loves her mermaid blanket, her daughter does, and she's asked me if I can make it longer, which is easy with crochet, it's not hard. But yeah, it's gonna take me a while because she's only just announced that she's pregnant, so it doesn't matter, I can just work on it as and when it's needed. But I do want, obviously, my jumper finished for when the weather gets colder in about 6 months' time. So if it's not going to be finished mega quick, I don't really mind. It is more just for me to carry on and enjoy than stressing about knitting it. So yeah, I do have an Etsy update coming, probably be on Monday now, because obviously I've left it too late to upload it now. anybody that didn't know, I do run my own Etsy shop. I make handmade stitch markers, and they sometimes are beaded, sometimes they are not. More often than not, they're not beaded. And when I say beaded, I don't mean like what Hannah from the Corner of Craft does, where she sews the seed beads individually. Beaded for me is like this. So if you can probably see, these are on little pins. I bet I can't show you, it's probably going to blow it out. So they're on little pins and they're beads, and then obviously I hand twist them at the top to make the loops, because it's easier than trying to use tiger tail. Don't get me wrong, I do like making stitch markers with tiger tail, but it's such a faff with crimp beads and everything, so I just don't do it. But yeah, I have 6 of these, which will be in 2 sets of 3. I have, where's my other one gone? These ones. They're nice, just nice and simple ones. These are like clear, silvery, I want to say they're like diamond shaped, but they're not diamond shaped. They're narrow at 2 points, like 2 triangles stacked on top of each other, so the points are facing outwards with little silver beads. This one, I'm quite proud of this one. Harry picked all of the charms today, so obviously I'm not going to show you excuse me, I'm not going to show you all of the charms because I did make quite a lot, but that should see me, because I ran out of earring wires and I'm waiting for my next lot to come, so that should do the next 2 updates hopefully. But this one, Harry wanted me to make angel wings, which I thought, okay, that's fine. But then I had an idea and I made a snitch. Now this is a bit of reverse engineering for me because I don't normally do this. I had to mount the beads, stop swinging, on tiger tail wire, and then obviously crimp it with the wings in place so it looks like he's flying, and then obviously I just put the findings on. But I thought that was quite sweet, and I don't think I've actually ever sold a snitch before. I do have some Harry Potter charms on my shop, as well as various other ones and random charms that I find, but yeah, I've never had a snitch before and I thought it was quite cute. So like when I say random charms, this is one Harry picked out because it reminded me of him. So it's a little monkey. Harry is, we always call him Harry Monkey because he's been a monkey since the day before he was born. He decided he was going to play up ever since he was born, and it's kind of stuck. So my little monkey for my Harry. And random ones, this one made me laugh that he chose these ones because obviously they're bronze and I can't find my gold findings, so I have a couple of little rams, you know, a couple of little, like a dolphin, and these ones are, I purchased these the other day and I was so glad when they arrived because they came mega quick. These are little baubles filled with little stars, and they're all like different multicoloured stars. But yeah, these are like the, if you've ever seen them, the Tilted Planet ones, or Tilting Planet, whichever way you want to pronounce it. And I actually looked into getting one of these because Tommy from Squirrel Pie Productions was raving about them, and I looked at getting them shipped from over in the US, and for one little charm like this it was going to be about 20 quid. And I happened upon them the other day when I found when I was doing a charm order. So yeah, from my normal place. And I thought, oh, they're quite sweet. And I have got coming. I've got glow in the dark ones. So obviously, like the crystals inside, they all glow in the dark. And I've got various other different coloured ones. But these were the first ones that arrived quick. And they're just all little different multicoloured stars. I thought they were quite sweet. Obviously, I won't go into massive, like, showing you all the, like, 30 plus charms that I made today. But yeah, I try and keep on top of my Etsy shop quite regularly because obviously I do work quite a lot and I don't always get back. So don't worry if I don't respond straight away. I have changed obviously how I list my products out now. Before it was just I'd put them all in a listing together, list out which ones I got and expected you to message me to say I want X, Y and Z charms. But I've changed that now because I had some confusion a couple of months ago with a lady who'd brought a listing, which is fine, and then I'd sent her a message saying which charm would you like, and she went, well, don't I get all of them? And I went, well, no, because it's £2 per stitch marker instead of the collection of 30 or 20 or whatever it was. You really think you're going to get 20 stitch markers for £2 with £1.20 postage? And it all escalated, and eventually I just refunded her money because it wasn't very pleasant. So yeah, I will now, each individual listing that you purchase is £2, okay, which is a listing of 1 stitch marker. Okay, ones like these, which obviously I've got like 6 of, I will put in as a listing of 3 or as 2, and it will state that in the title. So these ones are destined to be in sets of 3, so they will be like £5 for 3, and they will be sold as a set, which is fine. Individual ones like this are £2 each, but I will offer them for £3, £4, £5. So if you want more than 1 stitch marker, if you send me a direct message on Etsy, I will create a personalised listing for you. I will take your name and all your information, and I will set up a listing for you with correct prices, correct postage costs. You know, that's it. Because it saves the hassle of you trying to work out how to get the discount on, and obviously the postage is set per listing, so it's set at £1.20 per listing. If I create a personalised listing for you, I can change how much the postage is. So if you want 3 stitch markers, that's £5 plus £1.20 postage. If you want 6 stitch markers, it's £10 plus £1.70 postage, because each additional listing is 50p. So I don't mind setting up personalised listings for anybody. If you want custom orders, there is a custom order button, and I am practically on Etsy every day. Not always, but don't be worried if I don't, as soon as you purchase, if I don't contact you straight away. So I think that's everything. I think that I want to just say again, as I said at the beginning of the podcast, thank you to everybody that watched the previous episode. I will be popping all the information and all the show notes and everything all over on Ravelry if anybody wants to go and watch. The podcast group is called the Crafty Maker Podcast. Over there will be an introductions thread, and there will be an Ask Me Anything thread, and obviously I will put the show notes up on there. And I think that's about it. Thank you all for watching. Again, as I said, I'm highly honoured that anybody viewed my last video. I was quite terrified, and it warmed my heart that I did get the views that I did get. As I said, I am planning new things coming in the upcoming weeks. So hopefully I should have more knitting content available. But yeah, I hope you all have a lovely rest of the Easter half term if you have children and they're not driving you bonkers, because I'm surprised Harry isn't, to be fair. But yeah, I thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your holiday. I will hopefully see you again in 2 weeks' time, and hopefully the knitting content shall not be as light as it was today. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Bye.